What is up, beautiful people? It's Wolf Brother Mythos from the channel Frost and Fist, and welcome to this video. And this video is going to be a paint and chat because I'm going to be hustling, guys. I've got a lot of stuff to paint up for our 3K narrative event that we're going to next weekend. I've got 7 days and I've got so much to paint. Partially because I've just really changed up my list. I wanted to make it just like lots of Space Wolfy stuff from my old Space Wolf collection, and honestly I haven't really added much to it since Space Marines have gone the way of the Primaris, and some of those stuff is just really staple nowadays, such as I decided to add in some Eliminators or Eradicators, I'm sorry, and they're just such staple anti-tank units. I've added in a Gladiator Lancer, which is a Primaris tank, with the same kind of laser destroyer cannon that the Executioner has. I've added in some Hellblasters, which I never, even though they were like one of the first Primaris units, I never added them in my Space Wolves before. And all these stuff have to be painted up. And I'm touching up some old converted Thunder Wolves, so I'll be taking a total of 9 regular Thunderwolves plus 3 Thunderwolf characters to the event. So I'll be taking a total of 12 Thunderwolf cavalry. And so just lots of painting and touching stuff up. But I'm hyped, I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to it. But that does mean I got a lot to paint. And on top of that, it's just the stuff I need to paint for my... Oh, and I still need to base my Apothecary that you guys watched me paint the last couple weeks. That still needs basing. But since I'm painting up so many more Space Wolf units, I might as well just base them all at once. And on top of that, I did finish up Lady Creed for my brother Atlas. I'm so prepared this week, guys. I was just looking at her, and then I sat her down on my messy desk. Here she is. But I finished up Lady Creed. I did the highlights and stuff like that. Since the last time I saw you guys, I might go back and add in some metallics on her buttons. I don't know. Just to make her pop a little more. Of course. Bling. We gonna focus? Probably not. Up. We still got my face. Had my face behind my hands. It's still focused on all this Gundam stuff behind it. Anyways, we'll go table down in a little bit. Maybe she'll come in a little closer in. But one of the things I did do was that sword I converted up last weekend on stream. I stuck it in a demon skull. You know, like Lady Creed just stabbed it into the skull while she took to this tactical rock to give her orders. So, yeah, this is of course, my brother plays Krieg a lot, and so this is the Krieg version of Lady Ursula Creed. And yeah, got her sword stuck in this demon skull there. She's got her 2 pistols drawn, and she's giving commands from up on her tactical rock. So yeah, I'm really pleased with the way she's come out. Last week when you guys saw me painting her, I put down the gray, you know, the grays and whites for the belts there, and her holsters, intending to go back with my leather color over the top. But then my brother Atlas said he actually kind of liked it with her having the white straps and holsters and pouches, and I kind of agree. It kind of gives a little bit of a Nick Fury from Marvel Comics kind of look. So I dig it. So that's where she ended up. I left some of that dusty sand color on her boots, like she's been stomping through the desert. And yeah. So I'm pretty pleased with the way she's come out. Like I said, I might go back and touch up, add some metallics to her buttons to really shine them up. But for the most part, yeah, I like the way she's come. And she's ready to lead his forces. Hey, Ashley, good to see you. I hope you're doing well, my friend. I don't know why I'm bothering having it focus on my face, because we're going to go table down here in a minute. But that is, yeah, that's what we're up to. Or that's what we're up to from last week. We So mission accomplished on that one. We finished that one off. Today we're on to Atlas's tanks. When we go down down to the tabletop, or down to Tabletown, as Brother Rob says, from the TMP, you'll see that I'm working on 4 tanks tonight. They're all Leman Russes. They are 2 Vanquishers, a Punisher, and an Exterminator. So, yeah, we're going to be checking them out. We'll be getting some paint on them. I've also got one of my tanks in the background, should I get any time to work on it, but it is crunch time for sure. So, trying to finish COS tank build. COS. Well, good luck on finishing the tank build, Ashley. Brother Roxas, yo, good to see you, my brother. Good to see you indeed. I see the camera is struggling to focus on my face, but we're going to be going down to the tabletop anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and blank out the camera and point it down at the tabletop. Oh, Clash of Steel. I haven't heard of that one. That's cool. And like I said, I'll still be here chatting. I'm just blanking out the camera for a second while I move the camera, but I'll be here talking to you guys. What is everyone up to this weekend? I know Ashley's working on Clash of Steel tanks. Brother Roxas, I imagine you're getting ready for work. I just realized I was given some homework last week on Saturday to get caught up reading the Vampire the Masquerade Discord. I have not done my homework. What a terrible person. Did the unboxing of both boxes. Oh, okay. The new set outfit, or maybe at least new to Gamers of Coffee. That's cool. I'm gonna have to check that out. Okay, got the camera set up at a different angle this week, so I'm not exactly sure where this is going to point, but hopefully you guys don't see too much of my messy desk, and it'll just be the parts I mean for you to see. That's not too bad. That's not too bad indeed. Can I point it down just a little bit more? Yeah. Okay, that's not bad. Try to get my next relic in 14, right? Nice. Very nice. Well, good luck, my brother. Oh no, that is the end of my ice cold Coke. My ice cold Coke Zero. It is too early in the stream for me to be running out of drink. So like I said earlier, yeah, these are the 4 tanks we're going to be working on tonight. It is 4 Leman Russ battle tanks, 2 with the Vanquisher the Vanquisher cannon, 1 with the Exterminator autocannons, and 1 with the little Punisher Gatling gun. Something I did yesterday was you know, these turrets have been left off to make them swappable, and you know, they had been previously blue tacked on, but I happen to have the materials on hand, so we just went ahead and dremeled out the bottom of these turrets, glued in some magnets, and yeah. So, you know, if he wants to make the one with 3 heavy bolters, suddenly his Vanquisher cannon, boom, he can swap. If he wants to make the one with the last cannon, his Exterminator, boom, it can swap. And yeah, it makes them easier to transport and storage without their turrets attached. And I use some good quality magnets. Watch them just kind of click on. So satisfying. A good clicking magnet is just so satisfying. So yeah. Now, these tanks are much darker than you may have seen them last week. Fret not, It's just me putting down the shade color, kind of like I do with my own Leman Russ tanks. And now that the shade color is on, we're going to go back with the airbrush today, and we are going to bring back the highlights, which the color it was before, Xandria Dust, and we're just going to highlight all over the place until it reads as the Xandria Dust color, but it's still going to leave some of this richer brown color in the recesses. Color that I chose as a shade color to my Xandria Dust is Pro Acryl's dark golden brown. Let me tell you, I used up a good chunk of the bottle, like half the bottle yesterday, going through and painting up all 4 of these tanks. Oh, and also, they weren't all painted on the bottom before, so I did make sure that we went in with the darkest shade of brown and hit up all of the undersides, just so that way there'll be no bare plastic showing underneath. So yeah, good start. Now, funny thing, none of this is part of what he asked me to do. He just said, can you finish off my tanks? And I'm like, oh, well, do you mind if I mythos it up and do some airbrushing on it? He's like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. And then I was like, oh, we can't have just blue tacked on turrets. Let me break out the magnet set. Okay, let me go back and do some paint over everything in a darker base coat so we can get our shadow killers in. Now, finally, I'm just now coming back to make everything Xandria Dust again. And at that point, we'll finally be back to the point where everything's Xandria Dust color and where he asked me to finish the tanks. All of this to get to a place that he didn't even ask me to do any of this. This is just your Wolf Brother being extra. I can't help it, guys. I'm extra. Like, hey, I did this, this, and this. Yes, but did you do what I asked you to do? Although, you know, Brother Atlas is super chill. He's cool with all this. And I even asked him. And that's why we all love you. Because of my extraness. Hey, so, you know, everybody's got to have that, at least one extra friend. Okay, pushing in a little bit of low improver just to lubricate the barrel. We don't want anything touching the dry barrel. All right, I'm gonna have to make some space here so that way I can use my airbrushing. I guess we're gonna start with one of these Vanquishers. All right, set these two aside. Have this Vanquisher in the back. And drop a flow improver. Okay, and again, just like a couple of weeks ago, it's time to practice some control. So I've got my Shabji Bone, or not Shabji Bone, this is Xandria Dust. Now, not everybody does this, but I myself, because I know sometimes I can struggle with control on my airbrush a little bit. Sometimes it gets away from me. One of the things I like to do, and I'll just take a scrap piece of paper, pull back on the amount of paint I have until, oh, that's coming out a little too fast. There we go. Until I've got the amount of paint flowing out that I like. And then I take it to the model with that amount of control. Some people have, you know, they don't need to test it. They can just feel the amount of control that they have. But I like to be able to see it on a piece of paper so I know how much is coming out. Because I know I can be prone to just letting the airbrush get away from me. And plus, I'm kind of a visual person, you know. If I can see what I'm working with, I think I'm going to be more apt to handling it. And now I'm just tracing the shapes, like around this part here. I'm going to skip that big crease in the middle there. Leaving shades in the recesses, and I'm going to come to the middle of this door here and just work my way out. Skip over the edge of the door. Middle of this panel here. Yeah, it's coming to life. Coming to life. Okay, I pulled off of the piece. And now I'm going to come in with my piece of scrap paper again. Trying to avoid the crease there, avoid the edges of the door. All right, I might need another pass to brighten it up a little bit, but you can see, in theory, it should all read as the original Xandri Dust color. But now we've got, like, you know, some shadows around, like where the hatch is there, where that crease is in the middle. So yeah, it's just got more depth, more. Ooh, that's why we spray on. See that big splurt there? That's why we spray onto the piece of paper. And tracing along the bottom. There we go. Do the same thing with this turret up top here. See how we've got the big flat middle part of the panel. That's what I'm going to highlight there. Mini War Mutt, Big Tank, yes! So, Rogel Dorn. I'm watching Coachella live on YouTube for the Deftones right now. Very nice. Big tanks are the answer to life's problems. Absolutely. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Forge the Wild. Hey there, brother. This is how the airbrush on your tank is going so far. So I made everything the darker shade color last night, and now I'm bringing it back up to that Xandri Dust color. Hey Zane, I hope you're doing well, my friend. All right, Atlas, while I'm painting up on these tanks here, I did stop by the shop and talk to our TO last night. And yeah, he said there are several people not bringing epic name characters, and so if I want to just completely remove mine, that's no problem. He did also say that, you know, if I want to just show up on the day of the event, you know, with a different named character, if there was no one else there with it, that would be cool too. He was very chill and laid back about it. They did in fact find some Chaos players, so Chaos side will be represented. Just an idea of what we were fighting against. He said, in fact, the Chaos side is actually bringing. Oh man, so Lethus. PO. Did you say PO? TO. Target. Usually it stands for tournament organizer. Although this is a narrative event, but yeah, just usually for events, you know, I'm used to saying the phrase TO. But not only did they find some Chaos players, one of them is Chaos Guard, who is bringing one of the Baneblade variants. I saw him painting at the shop today, which is really cool. But also, there's going to be the Supreme Knight Porphyrion, which is basically the size of a small Titan. And there's going to be 2 Warhounds on the Chaos side at the event. So, yeah, that's something for us to look forward to on day 3, the big mega battle. We'll be probably facing some Titans. How many players total side? I didn't ask for the total count. Hey! Telemachus, how are you, my friend? Blood for the Blood God. Targets for the Vanquishers. Fix bayonets. That's right. That's right. We're going to fix bayonets on those big, stompy Titans. Yeah, I think that's going to be cool. Man, for the narrative, since, you know, this is a narrative event, and he was telling me about how some of the cool events are going to be. They're going to be like, you know, there's each, so each board will have a theme. There'll be like a Death World board, a Moon board, there's going to be an Admech station board. There's going to be Imperial Ruins board, that kind of thing. And each of them are going to have, you know, different primary objectives, and of course fighting each other, you know, is the primary objective on each board. But then each matchup is going to have different secondaries. So you might have, you know, the Death World board, but with different secondaries going around, you know, than somebody else might have. All of this is apparently updated on the site too. The mission packs have been updated on their site, so I might check it out after the stream. But then there's going to be tertiary objectives, which there are going to be crates on every table. And these crates are basically loot crates that we're going to have the option at the end of our match to turn them in for the team. And if we turn them in for the team,
on day 2, when we have the big mega battle, our team will get some kind of buffs. Or you can choose, instead of turning it into the team, you can choose to cash it in for yourself, a little more, as he puts it, selfishly, right that minute, and get some kind of buff for your army, some kind of enhancement. And some of them is like a free CP to send on whatever you want. You know, it's a deck, so it's randomized. And the Imperial and Chaos sides, they're the same buffs, just flavored differently. But some of them is like, you know, something big, like select a character, their weapon now deals D3 wounds, you know. Some of them are like, select a character and they get Shadow Field, and it'll carry from like one game into the next. But if that character dies, they drop that enhancement, and your enemy, or if you're playing a team's game, your teammate can pick them up, and they have it for the rest of the event until their character dies. So it's like you could be getting these cool buffs, but A, you're not giving your team that point for the big mega battle, and also you might have a chance of dying and dropping that buff. So it's a gamble. Ooh. Got a little splurberderp there. So yeah, that's some pretty cool stuff for the event next weekend. That is epic. I love when they give us some out-of-game options. Exactly. I always preferred narrative over competition, but it's always hard to get people to understand the difference. That's one of the things that Atlas and I were worried about. We're like, man, how many people are going to be bringing try-hard lists to this narrative event? But there's also a GT going on the same day, and so hopefully we should be getting like all narrative-minded people. And a whole bunch of the people going to the event were at the store today. When they were actually all having a painting party. I felt a little bad. I was like, man, I wish I had realized I could have gone and done some painting too. But they were having a painting party, and I thought it was pretty cool. Atlas, what do you think, man? So I took it down to the darker tone of this one, just for the shadow color. I'm bringing back that Xandri Dust look. And yeah. I think I'm highlighted back up to where we were now, but with some shadows in there. Don't look at the cannon. The cannon's going to be metallic here in a minute. Agreed. Narrative is better than competitive. I agree, and surely that has nothing to do with the fact that I'm also a hyper-casual player in general. I say hyper-casual, but I felt like the last game Atlas and I had, both of us probably built, some... Well, not last one. Last week we had a game. I'll talk about that here in a minute. But before that, with the Ultramarines versus the Guard that we did a battle report for, I think both of us kind of brought some relatively strong lists of what we could put together. And I think we had a pretty solid game. Looking A+. Thank you for your hard work. Awesome. I was joking with the guys. I was like, it's funny because I was showing them the magnetization, how I took everything down to the darker shadowed color, how I'm airbrushing in to add depths and leave shadows in the recesses. And I was like, and none of this is what he asked me to do. He just said, can you finish my tanks? And I'm over here being extra. But I know you're super cool about stuff like that. You leave it to artistic flair. So I was bringing Uncle Buck. Hey, good to see you, Uncle Buck. We are coming to the War Dome. Thank you so much for hosting the event. We are all signed up with Max to participate in the narrative event. We're just talking about how we're looking forward to it. Long time no see, Uncle Buck. I hope you're doing well, man. Can you show me how you make your magnet stick? Well, I hollowed out a pretty, cozy little hole for them. And then I just used a bunch of super glue and then super glue activator. So that way I can make them stick. I'm a lifelong, let's see. Hey, Oversoul, hope you're doing well, my brother. Playing Resident Evil 5 with a lady friend. Awesome. I got you on the background for support. Thank you so much, my brother. I hope you have a great time with Resident Evil. Or Resi. Zane, I'm a lifelong DM and I enjoy stories over anything. I've always hated players trying to break the game by min-maxing. So that's transferred over to 40k now. I totally get that. And so, anyways, yeah, Atlas. So a lot of what I do is I hollow out the exact, a relatively exact hole for what I need, and then slip the magnet in there. Put the super glue. I think I know people say super glue, but I really like how strong this Bob Smith Industries stuff is. Especially this is their thicker stuff. It's their gap filling medium consistency. And after that, after I put it in and it's all set, then I just solidify it in place with some Kraken adhesive super glue bonder or activator. Zane, is my name showing up as Zane? Oh no, I just I'm still referring to your old screen name. I have tried hot glue and super glue, but not the two-part stuff. Oh, this is just single-use super glue. It's just with some activator to speed up its curing. Yeah, the hot glue is like a good temporary bond, but it's not good for like the overall stick. Yeah, activator really helps with stuff like that. Also, I find, especially since you're going to be getting into the world of 3D printing soon, I find that activator goes a long way to helping my prints super glue stick in place. Because resin is a little more resistant to sticking than say plastic pieces are. That explains it kind of. You got me confused with someone else. Are you not Inquisitor Zane? My bad. The Inquisitor is actually a Calidus assassin. Reveal yourself, sir. That is super cool. We were just sitting here talking about, how excited we are for the War Dome event, and the host happens to be here in the chat. All right, I've got 4 takes to go through. Gotta try and keep my tip clean. Always keep your tip clean, kids. Is that Uncle Buck? Yes, sir. Listen, guardsman, you shall not give orders to a member of the Holy Odos. That is my will is the will of the Emperor himself. Oh, there are some raffles going on while we're at the War Dome, including this really gorgeous Warhound Titan. So that'll be cool. Also, a Lizardmen Houston Astros themed Lizardmen Blood Bowl team that'll be there. So these things are looking pretty cool. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to grab a couple of raffle tickets myself. Plus, I mean, they're for charity, so you know, gotta support the cause. Gosh, I can't even imagine if I won the. Not that I, expect to, but I couldn't even imagine if I won the Titan. Like, where would I even put that? I'd have to take out a storage unit. Sorry, sir. I thought I heard something different through the box. We will continue shelling as scheduled. Weird static on the comm speakers. Right. Sir, you can't continue the shelling. The tablets are still in there. And that actually happens in one of the Gaunt's Ghost books. Like, alright, commence shelling. Sir, the Tanith are still in there. And some guy, just because he wants to be a douchebag to the Gaunt's Ghosts, he's just like, I said continue shelling. Like, what a douchebag. So, of course, Gaunt loses hundreds of men to this haphazard shelling. He makes up for it, though. He goes up and punches his superior officer in the mouth. As he should. I still haven't read any of Gaunt's Ghosts. They're so good. They're so good. I think as much as I love the Space Wolf novels, the Horus Heresy novels, I think the Gaunt's Ghost series is my favorite set of 40k books of all time. So far. And that's including, like, I've read the Mika-Lesk series. I'm like halfway through the Caiaphas Cain series, or the first Caiaphas Cain book. But yeah, I think the Gaunt's Ghost books are my favorite 40k books. You know, it's funny that the Gaunt's Ghost books are my favorite because Atlas and I, we were still in our first year of friendship, like 7 years ago. And anyways, he was expressing his love for the Guard for me. And me, with my egotistical self, as a Space Marine, I'm still a Space Marine fanboy, don't get me wrong. I also have found room for other things since then, though, such as my orcs, such as the Guard. I've expanded my love for 40K. And, anyways, what I said to him at the time was, man, in a world, or in a universe where you can be anything, you can be powerful aliens, you can be humans, or superhuman, super soldiers, you can be augmented, mechanicus. I can't imagine why anyone would ever want to play just a normal human being. That seems so boring. I literally said these words to him. And now I think I am as big of a Guard fanboy as I am a Space Marine fanboy. Now I look back on that, I was like, man, what a jerk. Yeah, my tastes sure have changed in the last few years. I don't know if they've changed. I still love my Space Wolves and my Space Marines. My tastes have expanded. Yeah, that's a much better term for it. Even heretics can change. Praise the Emperor. Yep. How arrogant. I said, that's so bored. Why would you pick? I'm sure I didn't mean it in a mean spirit. I don't know how we got onto the subject. But yeah, I actually said that. If I remember correctly, you do not want these lasguns and heavy bolters glued in, right, my brother? I have to get around to them at some point. Got so much in my queue at the moment. That is totally understandable. Just like I fully intend on finishing the Horus Heresy series, because I'm in like 45 books in? 44? I'm on Wolfspear right now. So I'm almost finished with it. And of course, I mean to get on to Siege of Terra. But yeah, I'll get to them at some point. The Ravenor series. Beckwin series, Mephiston series in my immediate future. Very nice. I hear Ravenor is very good. Pretty sure the Orc and the Custodes, Orc and Custodes codexes go up tomorrow for pre-sale. That's pretty cool. I was watching Auspex Tactics reviews on them so far. I haven't finished the Custodes review, but from what a lot of people are saying, there's a few hefty and there are a few hefty nerfs coming for the Custodes in their book. A lot of people are unhappy with. Then a lot of people feel like they've been oppressed by the Custodes are feeling pretty good about it. So, somebody happy somewhere, I guess. It figures, I'm like, this is the year I will finally get my Custodes to a playable level. And it's like, no. Which is fine. I don't need them to be super powered to play them. I really play, kind of the same few people all the time. So, being that I normally play my friends, I really don't want an overpowered codex anyway. So the fact that they're getting taken down a few notches is okay with me. That actually is kind of a thing for me. I tend to get into armies, units, whatever, after they become, they get nerfed and they're not really strong anymore. Sometimes, not only after they're not strong anymore, sometimes after they're not viable anymore and they get moved to like legends or something. And it's like, what a swell treat. What a swell treat. But it's a good thing that typically my friends are cool with me playing Legends anyway. And one thing I really like about this narrative event is it's allowing all Legends units. So one thing is I'm dusting off a few of my favorite Heresy style units. My Contemptor Dreadnought, my Sicaran. My Sicaran, aesthetically, favorite thing of all time. Has it ever been just like super strong? No. Been tanky. It was tanky in the last edition, especially when Armor of Contempt was a thing. Big beefy tank, 2-up save, Armor of Contempt. Ooh, man, it was tanky in the last edition. But yeah, it's never been like super duper strong. But like just because of its looks alone, mostly. Like I've always just thought it was one of the coolest things ever. Putting work in. Hey, 6-cylinder Samurai. Looks good. Thank you so much. I hope you're doing well. We are currently working on some units because it's crunch time. Next weekend is a narrative event we're going to at... What's the name of the convention again, Atlas? I don't want to tell you wrong because I have CRS. Serious medical condition. But yeah, and so we got a lot of stuff to paint up. I'm helping my brother with his tanks. Brother Atlas or Forge the Wild there in the chat. Painting up his tanks for him. And I've got a Gladiator Lancer that I need to finish up. Plus 5 Hellblasters and 3 Eradicators before the event, which is next Saturday. So I've got 1 week to get everything done. A 12 Russ meta. He's bringing 4 Russes. So there's 3 sets of games next weekend. There's a 1,000 point game. There are 2 2,000 point games. And then there'll be 1 massive 3,000 point game on the next day. And so in in my brother's list, he's bringing 4 Russes, 2 Vanquishers, an Exterminator, and a Punisher. And a lot of people are down on the Vanquisher this edition, but man, every time we play, his Vanquishers just immediately, whatever it points at, his Vanquishers delete on my side of the table. Meanwhile, I've been painting the same 5 Infernus Marines for 10 days. Hey man, it happens like that. Any basilisks? Yes, he's bringing 2 basilisks. For my own guard, I recently converted and painted up this basilisk here. I can't wait to put him on the tabletop. I went a little bit too bright on my heat bloom there, but I kind of like it. Adds a pop of color. Now for us, because we don't have that muscle burn is fire. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love doing heat bloom effects because they're like just a fun way to add some extra colors into your model that weren't there before. War Dome, that's the name of the convention. Thank you. Alright, even though we're continuing on with the same color, I feel like after 2.5 tanks, my barrel and my needle are probably starting to get a little bit gummy. So we're going to go ahead and run some cleaner through the brush, some water, and just give it a chance to hydrate. Gotta hydrate. Because if your needle starts dry tipping, of course, and I feel like it was starting to get a little bit of some of that kind of splattering from dry tip, and we want to keep that chunkiness from happening. All right, so Zane has been working on. What's the rest of the guard look like? Same Desert Storm look. Yes, he calls them the 72nd Dust Devils, and yeah, he gives them all kind of a similar tan kind of color. It's mostly a Krieg army, but he's got his previous army was Catachan, and so there's a lot of Catachan inspiration, and he's done up his Catachan also in the same kind of desert look. Speaking of what, you working on tonight, Atlas? I know yesterday when you sent me some pictures, you were working on some stuff like your Toroxes and stuff like that. What you working on tonight? Well, I'm jelly. Yeah, I really dig his guard army. Got some really cool stuff there. Oh man, you should see his kit bashed and his kit bashed Hellhounds. Atlas, you mind if I show your stuff off? I know sometimes you're a little bit self-conscious about your paintwork and stuff. But I think your stuff looks really good, especially when you did like the army kind of pan across. Catachans look like a blast blade. Man, a lot of people are saying with their new role as kind of like the scout boys here, you know, and being able to do what some people call the scout mirror by using Catachan to make your chimeras, you know, like a pretty durable scout chassis. A lot of people are saying that this is the best Catachan played for a hot minute for several editions. I'm fine with it. I got thick skin. You don't have to worry about thick skin. I doubt anybody's going to say anything nasty about your work. Your work is good. I'd be spitting out 80s and 90s acting one-liners all out the game. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's what it's about. It's about the experience. You and your mates having a good time. Okay, you'll excuse me one second. I'm going to pop over to make sure I don't have any of my prawns up. And we'll go to Chrome, double tap, bring up the yes, that's the one. All right, and there are his Catachan. You can see his Tauroxes. He's also, while I'm doing his tanks, he's also getting stuff touched up for the narrative event there. But those are his Hellhounds right up front with the big gas can on them that he converted up. His Tauroxes, his Sentinels, his heavy weapons teams. You can see his Basilisks at the back. But yeah, they're looking good, brother. I know I'm being a little bit extra, doing all the airbrush highlighting on your tanks that I'm working on now. But, I mean, aside from my extraness, I don't think any of my extraness is necessary. I think you do good, clean work already, brother. Damn, looks great. Hey, see that? I told you you'd be getting some compliments, Atlas. That army you just saw a pan of is my brother Atlas. And actually, the tanks I'm working on now. All of this belongs to my brother Atlas. We're going to a narrative event a week from today, and that's why we're hustling. You can see there he was working on, touching up his army for the event. Just joined the stream. Hi, nice to meet you, Caleb. But yeah, so he's touching up some stuff. I'm working on his tanks, and yeah, we're just trying. First, we're working on getting his army ready for the event, and then I've got a Lancer, I've got 5 Hellblasters, and I've got 3 Eradicators that I need to finish. Not half as good as your work, but tanks are supposed to be the front and center. Oh man, just a different style of painting, brother. Not any better than yours. Better than anything I can do, so I can't complain. All looks good to me. Very kind words, Telemachus. I don't know why that your name always gets stuck on the tip of my tongue for a second there. I got to work it out. Now that we've given our brush a good rinse and hydrate, add back in a little flow improver, back to more Xandri dust, a little bit more flow improver on top. It sticks on everyone's tongue, that's why I use it. Okay, at least I'm not alone. And then I always like to take a piece of scrap paper because sometimes I have issues with control with my airbrush and sputtering. So I always get it to the consistency and pressure that I want to see on a piece of scrap paper, and then I go back in. So you saw a bit of what else my brother Atlas is bringing to the big 3K narrative event there. It's got some armored sentinels. He's bringing 80 infantry, which is a mixture. Actually, he's bringing everything but Acadians. He's bringing some regular infantry for heavy weapon. His command blob is like a big heavy weapons blob. So it'll have 2 las cannons, plus the las cannon in his command squad. That's 3 las cannons. And then, is it just 3 las cannons? For some reason I was thinking that you would manage to get a 4th one in there somehow. Maybe it's just 3 las cannons. And then, of course, that command squad is babysitting a squad of 3 laser rapier laser destroyers. So that's 6 more twin link las cannon shot. So his command blob is just like this hardcore epicenter of las cannon death. So yeah, he's got the 1 squad of regular infantry for that reason. And then he's got 2 big blobs of Krieg he's bringing. He's got 2 squads of Scout Mira Catachans. And man, we tested them out. We tested out each other's lists last weekend. I did say I'd get onto that here in a minute. And yeah, those little Catachan scouts put in some work. They were really good. I mean, they did what it says on the tin all day. You know, they managed to, present themselves as a mid-field objective holders. They provided some speed bumps and screening for the following units. In some cases, it was the Krieg and their firepower. In some cases, it was the tanks. But especially since I was playing my Wolves, a close combat army, like, I kind of had to deal with the Catachan in front of me to get to anything behind. So it was good. They were very, very useful. So I understand now, after playing against them, why people are saying that the Catachan are kind of in a better place than they've been for several editions. I do wish that they let them take power weapons, though, especially with their kind of, with their special ability of being able to, allegedly being able to punch up in combat a little bit. It'd be nice if they could take power weapons, especially like just something to represent the Catachan Fang on the Sergeant, I decided to blend that out at the front. That corner looked a little too harsh. Okay. Boom, that's 3 down. 1 more and I can just start carving out details. Mr. Fish, I am so sorry that your WA got timed out. I'm sorry, I really need to look into the settings on Nightbot so it doesn't do that. Let's see. Oh, we got Hellworks in the chat. Good evening, Hellworks. I hope you're doing well, brother. Hellworks, and anyone else that's interested, we will be doing just a paint and hangout after the show tonight in our Discord, the Frost and Fist Discord. I'm pretty sure Nightbot will throw up an invite in a little bit. But in our Discord, we'll be doing just a hangout, painting and chatting together after the show. So if anyone's interested, I know I plan on being there because I've got a bunch of painting to do for next weekend's event. Usually Hellworks is there and another friend of ours, Wybird, so anyone's welcome to join. Oh, there's actually 30 Cadians on 3,000 point list. Nice. Mr. Fish, stop spamming caps. I'm so sorry about the setting on Nightbot. What PSI are you running? I am currently running... Honestly, I twist the knob until it feels right, which is not, not the right answer. But let me see. Looks like I'm running about 22 PSI right now. Happy Flippin' Friday to yourself, Mr. Fish. Working on my Iron Warriors. Picked up a Land Raider. Nice. Coating it in Streaking Grime. Very nice. Grimy Night Warriors. Perfect. I want to do Deathcore Creeps Mordian Hybrids. Very cool. Daniel Prattle, good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Cool, cool. All right. Got to be a little more careful here. Discord link is invalid. Unfortunately, the Discord links seem to expire after a little bit of time, so I'll have to update that. But until I do, invite. Send a server invite. Paste. And I'll paste it here in Twitch in case anyone's interested. All right. Okay, that one should be valid. It's just fresh off of the Discord links. Oh, gotta be a little careful here because we got this ammo thing for the Punisher there. Man, I'm so hyped for this narrative event. The thing, apparently in the third round, when we get to, our 3,000 point list, there's going to be all kinds of stuff that affect the battlefield too. There's going to be turret emplacements on a wall, with things like las cannons and auto cannons and stuff like that, that we'll actually be able to interact with, which is cool. I hate it when you see like, a las cannon or an auto cannon on like a piece of terrain and you can't interact with it. I think 7th edition had this big plasma one. Oh shit. That you can interact with. See, this is what I was saying earlier about why I always start on the piece of paper. In case there's any exploded. Okay. My pleasure, Zay. I'm in Inquisitor. I'm sure that's got to be the mix-up. Because the other friend I had was Inquisitor Zane and Friendly Neighborhood Inquisitor. So I guess in my brain's just auto-filling Inquisitor into the next word. I apologize for that. I'll get better. Hobby hangout tonight, yes. After the show tonight, we'll do a hobby hangout in the Discord. Which is good, because like I said, I got a bunch of painting to do by next weekend. And part of this is my fault. Like, I kept thinking, You know, when we signed up for this event, we have 2 months until the event. No problem. We'll definitely have everything painted up by then. And of course, you know, I worked out of town for 3 weeks. Of course, you know, there's that. And not gonna lie, recently got into Baldur's Gate 3, which has been dipping into my time a little bit. And so yeah, just time kind of got away from me, and now we're on the 7-day hustle. Ah, you'll be painting your vampires. Very nice. All that Cursed City goodness. I don't know if you guys can actually look this up on Google. It's a proven fact that if you have paint on your hands, your shop towels will disappear on you. I know I just had a fresh shop towel on me. Ah, here it is. I've got some vampires I want to paint up, but I'm going to be waiting until the Blood Angels Codex comes out, so that way I know what to do with all my Assault Pact guys. Because my vampires are space vampires. Same with glue. Oh, exactly. When you get glue on your hands, it's just like, where's all the stuff to clean this off? Got to check all sides to make sure I got all the angles. Bottom of the bumper. Oh, and Atlas, I know another thing, I know you didn't ask me to do, but I made sure to flip all the tanks over and put the darkest shade of brown I was using on the bottom side of all the tanks. Just that way there was a little bit of color everywhere. Arrived to see a bunch of tanks. Perfection. Ah, you happen to arrive on one of your favorites, the Punishers, on the table. I was just talking about making sure I get all the angles. I completely missed half the tank. But Ethan, I hope you're doing well, my friend. Cursed City, simultaneously the coolest and most disappointing thing GW has ever released. Man, I still want to get a hold of like the Hunters from Cursed City, just because they have a very Bloodborne kind of feel to them. I really love their aesthetic. You're welcome, my brother. I think I want 30k sentinels and tanks for my new hybrid guard. That would be cool. I really, really like the new 30k guard stuff. They just look so cool. And I know it looks so over the top and ridiculous, but that new, like, I can't remember what it's called, but the big over the top like mega sentinel looking thing that's got the las cannon on top of its, head or whatever. I don't know. A lot of people don't like it, but I think it's pretty cool looking. It's definitely like one of the most divisive pieces in the guard community for sure. People either really love it or they really hate it. Hey, Darklight Dreamer, my brother, I hope you are doing well. Darklight Dreamer has been our GM on D&D night recently. Oh, Meowdy. And he's been, even though like it's been like D&D night, we've been playing a system called Fabula Ultima, which is like a Final Fantasy themed tabletop, D&D like game, and it has been a ton of fun lately. And I'm currently playing a Lancer / Dragoon in that game. Although Baldur's Gate 3, and you listen well, Atlas and Darklight Dreamer are usually my GMs. Next game we play, guys, the next one that's like D&D, actual D&D, I have this urge now to play an Owl Bear Druid, okay? Right now in Baldur's Gate, I'm playing, there's 2 druids you can pick up for your party, and I'm playing the game with dual owl bears right now, and it is the best thing ever. Huh? Yes, thank you. And now I have a hankering, and the next time we play actual tabletop D&D, I want to play an Owlbear Druid. I've never had the urge to play a Druid before, guys. And I've got fever now. I need to play this character now. Owlbear don't care. I've been quoting the Owlbear don't care meme all over the place. Every time I send one of them to jump on a bunch of cultists or something like that, I'd be like, so and so cast power word curse, and then I pounce on them. Owlbear don't care. That seems super busted. Yes, double owlbears in your party is amazing. Like, I want somebody to start a game right now so I can be an Owlbear Druid. Guys, do campaigns usually take weeks and weeks of planning? Yes. I want somebody to make a campaign right now so I can be a druid. Just reinforcing some highlights and hotspots here, guys. Because as we all know, especially when you're airbrushing, but sometimes just in general when you're painting, it looks brighter than it dries. So you got to come back and sometimes do a second or third pass. I think last night's RP session was honestly some of the best role-playing we've done in this campaign so far. Last night was so good. So freaking good. It's funny. Like, something about this campaign, several of us have just got like, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with combat-focused games, but we really got into character, I think, this game. Atlas in the chat there, Forge the Wild, is playing a bard and actually like was putting stuff into his performances and using his performances not only to make money, but in some parts do it for investigation. My character, in addition to being a lancer, is also, before, I did some background and life before becoming an adventurer. He grew up in a restaurant, and so he's before he got into the current adventure, which is now as in with a lot of D&D campaigns, a mission to save the world. Before we got to this place, he was supposed to do some traveling to cure his daydreaming and collect recipes and stuff like that for his family's restaurant. So that way, when he got some of his, wanderlust out of his system, he'd come back and finally be an asset to the restaurant instead of being a hindrance. Surprise, during his wanderlusting, he got sidetracked and into a mission to save the world. Yes, he's an absolute food enthusiast. And so, anyway, we did the investigate and, work on saving the world stuff too. But last night, we worked it into the stuff we were doing. And so, we got to stay at an inn, and there was clues for us to investigate at the inn. So while we did some of that, my character was getting real friendly with the tavern owner and trying to learn some of the recipes, and got to help out in the kitchen and stuff like that. And I got to really role play my role as a fellow cook, chef, food enthusiast kind of thing. And I got to share some recipes and stuff like that. But then also, everything I did, there was point to it, because the tavern owner, like I said, turned out to be a member of the community that was rallying some of the other community members into trying to figure out what's going on with the Thieves Guild and stuff like that, and this run of crime that they've had in their town, and how the Thieves Guild has really been taking advantage of their town and stuff like that. And it all worked out. And then Atlas was using his experience as a bard. He got us discounted rooms for the night. He made a bunch of money, but I was able to talk to people, get some information off of them, based off of his performance as a bard. People want to talk to the bard, and turns out the leader of the Thieves Guild left him a tip that night, for his playing. And so that was kind of our first, but we didn't know that's who it was at the time. We found out at the end of the session. But it was pretty cool. We got to incorporate all of this role-playing stuff into the normal dungeon crawl stuff. Some really good role-playing. I have the fever, and the only prescription is more owlbear. Exactly. That's how I feel. That needs to be on a t-shirt. Owlbear don't care. Oh man. Yeah. I got to get into somebody's D&D game. I got to play an owlbear stat. But that was cool stuff. But also, there was some really other cool moments. We found, we went into a shadier part of town, and we found a kid that was kind of bruised up, looked like he'd been mugged, was crying, and so while comforting the kid, I gave him a hug. He pickpocketed me. But since I'm a good-natured food enthusiast, I didn't want to believe that the kid is the one who pickpocketed me. So we went on a side quest looking for my wallet, and that kind of led us, into some clues about the Thieves Guild and stuff like that. One of the beggars in the streets happened to see the kid pinch my wallet, and he's for 100, and I think it was 160 coins or something like that. By the end of it, helped loosen his memory, and he told us what he knew about living on the streets and what he knew of the Thieves Guild and for his troubles. He got assassinated, so there was some intrigue there. And Atlas rolled a freaking 16 on his perception check, pretty high, and was able to see that one of the escaping assassin happened to be one of the assistants to the rich man that tipped him earlier in the night. That's how we eventually, after some other investigation stuff, we came to find out that the man who left him the big tip earlier in the evening is likely the head of the Thieves Guild. So it's all coming full circle. I agree, it was definitely a great session. But it was all coming up Millhouse. No thank you, Forge of the Wild. No thank your face, Darklight Dreamer. Yeah, it was a really good RP session. Your mom, Wolf Brother. What? My mom's your mom. We're such dorks. Darklight and I actually used to say that to each other as kids. No, your mom. My mom's your mom. I mean, we were doing it ironically, but yeah. I think my wife, Lily Nightfall, is in the chat. And sometimes she doesn't believe me when I tell her that, your mom jokes are part of the growing up experience when, you're a young lad. So, apparently, she was unaware of this. So you guys let her know down in the comments, right, when we were kids, not like yesterday. Is that the eye roll emoji? Yes, it is. Oh, absolutely. Guys are brutal to each other. Exactly. That's part of the growing up experience as a lad. You resort to those even when we're playing Overwatch. Maybe. No. That's things we do as lads. It's lads, of course. The youth card doesn't work now. What? Calling me out. If your friends don't rip into your very soul with insults, you just didn't have friends. I'm going to tell you a little story. For some reason, it doesn't happen so much now, but for some reason, in Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft, my guild used to get into it with these other guilds, I tell you. And so, naturally, as part of the team, I would go to bat for my team, and, I would also trade insults with these guys. Telemachus says it's a rite of passage. Exactly. And anyways, long story short, my wife and the guild have taken my keyboard from me. Right, the whole guild. Exactly, the whole guild. Yeah, that's what I said. And for some reason, the guild and my wife have taking my keyboard away from me when we raid together. I'm just saying, for some reason, the whole guild gets into it with other guilds, and my keyboard is taken away.
Call of Duty where you can trash talk people to your friend, not knowing they can hear you.
That also happened years ago. Oh my goodness, it's probably been like 10 years now. Years ago, my brother Kane bought me Call of Duty and brought it over for my birthday, and we were playing together in the living room. And at the time, we had a device called the Xbox Kinect. It was a camera that lets you do, what's it called? Nowadays it's called it's not virtual reality. It was like AR or something like that, augmented reality or something like that. But basically the camera would show your living room or you in the living room, and then like superimpose you know, like whatever it showed of you on the camera into their games or whatever. But it was a mixed reality. That's the term for it, mixed reality. And anyways, and it comes with a microphone built in. I thought you had to turn the microphone on. But the way it comes, like when you set it up straight out of the box, is once you plug in the Kinect, the microphone is always on unless you turn it off in the settings. Anyways, so here it is. He brings it to me on release day. Okay, so the only people, or no, I think he brought it to me the day after release day, specifically the day after, because of what I say next. Okay, and so that means the only people who have really had time to spend on this game were people who were in the beta, or people that have just been grinding since, you know, the midnight release, you know, like the night before last. And so I'm like, dude, the game's not even been out 2 full days. You know, so we were getting destroyed by some people who were like already, you know, like prestiged, like once and maybe twice over. And this prestiging system, Call of Duty, means you get to the max level and you hit a button that says you are now prestige level 1, and basically starts you back over at level 1, but with this title saying that you are level 1, but you're also prestige 1. And then when you max out your level again, you can hit the prestige button again, and you're like back to being level 1, but prestige 2, and yada yada. So anyways, we were and getting destroyed by a few games, and just these guys kept popping up in our lobbies over and over again of people who were like, you know, prestige or prestige 2, and I'm like, he's like, man, we keep getting these guys in our lobby and there's like nothing we can do against them. And he was visibly frustrated. And so I was talking a little noise, trying to console my brother, and I say, don't worry about it, my brother. You see all these ranks of the people who are doing the destroying though? Okay, look at that. They're prestige 1, prestige 2. The game's not even been out 48 hours like that. I said, for them to be prestige by this point, these are people that have no lives. They probably haven't taken any showers. They damn sure haven't talked to any women. Okay, they've got absolute no lives. They probably, live in their mother's basements and have never seen an actual, they've probably never even seen a woman naked before. And I was like, just talking bad trash. Anyways, I didn't realize that the camera on my Kinect had the microphone open, and all of a sudden, the whole chat lobby erupts with people swearing, F this guy, get this guy. They were all being very quiet until that Oh man, I had people on my own team trying to kill me or get me killed, doing things, sending up flares wherever I am so the enemy team know where I am. Like, the people on both teams were collaborating to kill me. Absolutely wrecked, yes. After we got out of that match, I'm like, I just was like quietly like, Kane, let's back out of this lobby. Oh man. After that, people were sending me friend requests that way they could continue, but I was just rejected the friend requests because I knew they were just sending me friend requests to keep arguing. You see, I run my free company in Final Fantasy XIV. I'd like to see them try and take my keyboard away. Overwatch or Overwatch 2, Lily? The trash talking was in both. More so in Overwatch 1 now. They do a good job of making sure that I don't get myself banned in Overwatch 2. You wandered directly to the corner of fuck around and find out. Yeah, that was me. Oh man, I had a bad time that match. Every time I spawned, I was pretty much dead. Good times though, good times. Definitely worth a laugh when I look back. And one time in Final Fantasy, we were on Thunder God Sid, and there's a mechanic that if you do it incorrectly, you can wipe your whole party. But if you do it incorrectly, but set the marker over in, you know, that you're a different guild or alliance's party, you can wipe somebody else's party, somebody else's alliance. And what the problem we kept running into that day is one of the other alliances, they kept, I don't know if they were doing it on purpose or by accident, but they kept wandering over to our side of the battlefield and dropping these AoEs on our side. And so we would have to do, dodge our AoE and their AoE, and in a lot of cases there's just not enough space to dodge both. That's why all three of the alliances have to work together to space them out correctly during this fight, or else everybody can get the other alliances wiped. And anyways, so we were feeling a bit frustrated because we were kind of pulling double duty on these AoEs. And then somebody from that same alliance so basically all three alliances have to do their part in this battle and, contribute X amount of damage. And somebody from their team, the one that kept sabotaging us, had the nerve to say, well, we'd have cleared this by now, but people from Alliance, A keep dying over there. They can't get their shit together. And so, anyways, I started wandering off and talking mad smack, about how, our backs were hurting because, we were carrying the damage and the loads for, 2, sometimes 3 alliances, and, they were getting a free ride. And I was just talking mad crap about how, they must be nice to have their feet rested when they're riding on our backs, getting carried all over the place, this, that, and the other. And, somewhere along the lines, that turned into the fact that we were carrying their heavy bombs, and then the guild asked my wife to unplug my keyboard and have me play with the controller. Kelly got me download Overwatch 2, so I'll be trying. Oh man, we love Overwatch 2. Lily made me turn off my chat so that way I don't get banned, but for the most part, like, I enjoy the game. Mystery Heroes is my favorite thing to play. I like not knowing which character I'm going to have next, and it's actually gotten me pretty decent with a variety of heroes instead of where, picking. Sometimes you kind of get in a rut playing the same character over and over again, which, if that's your thing, if that's your favorite way to play, that's awesome. But I like kind of like the randomness and not knowing which character I'm going to get next until, I get Ana or Sombra for the 5th time in a row. Then I'm sometimes a little less enthusiastic. It's a good time to get into Overwatch. They just made it so that way all of their free champs are going to be new on the day of release. They're going to be free on the day of release. No more paying for champions. That's pretty cool. My wife and I, we love to get, all of the aesthetic stuff, the skins and sprays and stuff like that. So we tend to buy the battle passes anyways, but it's cool for anyone that's not dumping, extra money into Overwatch. That the characters are going to be free from now on. That's pretty cool. Fact, I'm not necessarily a car guy, but they're doing a collaboration with Porsche. Where the character that flies a mech named Diva, she's going to be getting a skin that's basically like if her battle mech had been made by Porsche. A Porsche brand battle mech, which looks pretty cool. Pretty clean, very sleek. Keely got me to play Fortnite a couple weeks ago. He played betas. I was playing Sniper. Worked like a charm. Very nice. World of Tanks has a similar player base. I have a backlog of death threats from that game. Oh, wow. Thunder God Sid. They later nerfed that mechanic because running that with randos was basically suicide. Oh, yeah, I can see that. My lovely Lily plays a healer. And she was during that fight, we got stuck with 2 DPS healers in a row. And so she was basically solo healing twice in a row. And after that, she has been traumatized and will never solo heal with randos again. Which I totally respect. Yeah, that's when it was current content. Before they nerfed the mechanic. It was just so unlucky that we made it through with 1 DPS healer, got him out, got another healer in, 2nd DPS healer in a row. She was so mad. In fact, just thinking about it nowadays still pisses her off. Oh, the backlog of death threats from that game definitely did have anything to do with me accidentally shelling my own allies occasionally. That had nothing to do with it. Of course not. Of course not. These are unrelated incidents, sir. Now, like after you do the airbrushing, you just start cutting in a couple of details. And it starts taking shape. $10:30, getting late in the show already. I think I asked earlier, but I don't remember an answer, so I apologize for the CRS Atlas. You said you do not want the last cannons and heavy bolters glued in, right? All right, got the stubbers done on all four. Now we'll do the heavy bolters. Oh. So while I was out of town, oh yeah, I already talked about the venue. Talked about that on the last year. Now, while I do have a lot of painting to do this weekend, tomorrow, well, after she gets out of raid anyways, will be devoted to her for her, my lovely lady Lily. Because tomorrow we're celebrating her birthday. So a big birthday shout out to my lovely lady Lily. We're going to be celebrating a little bit before her birthday, since the weekend after her birthday will be when we're at the War Dome convention. So I might as well celebrate early. The casing for this heavy bolter is going to be black. We'll come back in and cut it with the black glue in a little bit. Cool. Then I will make sure not to do that, my brother. Just putting in the details. We've got about 25 minutes left in the stream, guys. But after the stream, there'll be a little bit of a pause as I go, grab a little bit to, snack on, get my, take a little bit of a bio, get myself something to drink, and then we'll be hanging out in the Discord where I will continue painting, and any friends of the channel can feel free to jump on the Discord and paint along with me. Ooh. Quick little cleanup there. Atlas says, happy birthday, babe. I don't know if you could hear, but she said she said thank you back. Oh, okay. I know you're playing Baldur's Gate, so I didn't know if you got a chance to respond. So that's why I was saying it verbally. But cool. I gotta admit, I'm on the bandwagon now, but I never played the Baldur's Gate games before. So now I've gone back with an interest in playing them, the older ones, and the older ones are still like $20 a piece. I'm like, man, don't they realize how old these games are? But I guess because it's popular again, supply and demand, baby. But I've got them wish listed because Steam does the sales all the time. And the next time that the older Baldur's Gate games are on the Steam sales, I will be there ready to pounce them up. You can see here I did less than a stellar job on that one, Brother Atlas, on getting the heavy bolter circle drilled out correctly. So I apologize there. Some of my barrel drilling can be pretty precise. Some of it is less precise. This side, I did a pretty central job. This side, a little less so. Paint Minis Live. How are you doing, my brother? Bill. Got to give you the Bill Nye treatment. Bill. I hope you're doing well, my brother. So good to see you. I did the sponson heavy bolters. I forgot to do the front heavy bolter on that one. Happy to see you at this hour. I was looking for something quality to watch. Oh man, I hope you find it. Until then, though, I'll be happy to keep you company. Although if you find something quality to watch, you let me know. Got a new camera angle this week. I decided to go for a higher angle since I was airbrushing. And I think I just ended up liking this angle in general. So we might work with this going forward a little bit. Now, I was at D&D last night, my brother, but I had you on for background, just for support. How did your show go? I was unaware the Inquisition was in the chat. The Emperor guy. Sure as swell. Yes, the Emperor guy. I still need to play Baldur's Gate 3. I heard nothing but good things. It is great. I'm really enjoying it. It really scratches, because like Dragon Age is one of my favorite games of all time, and it's really scratching that Dragon Age itch for me. You know, great graphics, great ability to bond with your teammates, romance options, battle mechanics are great. Honestly, the controls can be a bit clunky sometimes, especially if you go into like a multi-story level. But aside from that minor complaint, yeah, it's like a really great game. Like addictively so. Like, I do partially blame Baldur's Gate for one of the reasons why I'm so behind for painting for this event. I mean, obviously it's not Baldur's Gate's problem, it's my discipline, but we're not going to blame the discipline, right? We're just going to go straight into it's Baldur's Gate's fault. Thank you so much. It's my brother Atlas's Imperial Guard for the 72nd Dust Devils, which for him is like a combination Krieg and Catachan kind of force, led by a commander that was trained as Acadian, grew up as Acadian, but if I remember correctly, she crash landed on Catachan while going by for like an inspection or something, and ended up having to live on the Death World. Had to adopt and learn the Catachan ways, and even when she got back amongst her people, she kept her core battalion of Catachan warriors that had kind of saved her life and shown them her ways, or shown her their ways as a part of her force. And so that's why, no matter what regiment he runs, they'll always have like some Catachan influence. They're now the 72nd Dust Devils, Hybrid Guard Force. Paint Minis Live. I watched your older videos earlier in the week. That's awesome how it works. Paint Minis Live does such awesome work. Highly recommend. The greatest chilled paint along streams. I would say kind of on the same level of like some of the great chill streams of like when I'm watching Pickle Jar Live. All right, cutting in the details. We got all the rivets on one side. Well, not all the individual rivets, but like these big ones here. And of course, this is all the base coating step. Obviously, you know, we're going to wash these turrets down, these rivets down, get them kind of grimed up a bit. We're going to add a heat bloom to the end of these turrets, so that way we can add in some more color. So it looks bright now, but we're going to tone all this down. Kind of like the opposite with the sand color here, where I started darker and worked my way up. These rivets, we're starting with kind of a bright metal color, and we'll work our way down. I know, right? I don't blame the discipline. I mean, I don't blame the overachievement of the discipline, right, Inquisitor? I got to head out working overtime tomorrow. It's almost midnight. Man, don't work too hard tomorrow and get some great rest, brother. Good to see you. You try oils yet, Mythos? Yes, sir. Not something I do very often because honestly, one of the major reasons is because I don't have any more gloss varnish to protect my work. And the last few times I tried doing the oils, I guess I didn't get the mixture of the spirits right. And I ended up rubbing away paint underneath. Now, when I'd use them and they work well, I get great results out of oils. But then sometimes when they're sometimes going across the frustrating part of rubbing away the underneath layer, and it's kind of made me a little gun shy, if you know what I mean. So, I like them, but also they scare me. But I do have some experience with them, yes. All right. All the big rivets on, one tank done. My job is painfully easy. I don't think it's possible to work too hard. That's good. I mean, not the painful part. But I see a lot of creators that have really edited down videos for these massive time sink paint jobs and marketing it as quick and easy. I think it can make hobbyists think that they lack chops. It's quite possible. I myself always feel the inferiority complex or the imposter syndrome. For the longest time, you know, like this kind of video, I used to never would have done. Like, I've always told myself, you know, because like they do the, you know, the edited down quick cuts, don't include the mistakes. Like right here where my metallic has gone a little too far. Which, you know, I mean, obviously people like showing their best work, right? I get. But yeah, I was like, oh man, I could never paint like that. And I used to always just constantly be afraid that, you know, if I started painting on camera like that, people would see that, you know, I'm a fraud and I'm not a very good painter at all. But thankfully, more creators nowadays will show the process and show the mistakes than, at least, you know, more than there used to be. But also, like, sometimes I just see so much natural skill in what people do. Like, and I need to get better about, like, practicing technique, right? But so many times I'll see people use, like, quick, long, confident strokes to get what, you know, they need. And for me to get it right, like, you can see here, I'm doing, like, 1,000, like, tiny little strokes, you know? Not because I'm doing, like, a technique like cross-hatching where I need a lot of little strokes. I just don't have like that experienced, practiced hand that I see on a lot of people who paint minis on stream all the time, where they could just do the quick, confident strokes and not have any stray marks. And I guarantee if I paint like that, I've got stray marks all over the place. But, you know, obviously comparing yourself to other people is bad. Just keep painting, moving forward, not comparing yourself to them. Compare yourself to your own work and where you've been. Because you can lead yourself down a lot of negative thoughts comparing your work to other people's work. That's the kind of thing I got to try and keep in mind. I got to keep in mind the perspective. And so, yeah, obviously I'm in a better place confidence-wise nowadays because I am painting on stream. But yeah, people used to, and I still need to take the time to do tutorials, but I used to never do it like... I used to very seldom do tutorials or live streams where you actually see me painting anything. Even my live streams before of painting used to be like just like headshots, and I'd be painting, but I wouldn't be focused in on the model or anything like that because I don't know. I was too embarrassed for people to see me paint. I'm like, if people see my my end result and they think it looks good, great. But they may not feel that way if they saw me painting, you know. But obviously, you know, I've overcome that. I paint on stream nowadays. Nice to meet you, Lord Inquisitor. Have a great night. Ooh. We are closing in on 11 o'clock here. So I'm going to finish up this side of the tank. Actually, 5 minutes. I probably got time to do the other side as well. I got time. Anybody who wants to join, Hellchild and I are going to be jumping into, in about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or so. Hellchild and I will be jumping into Discord and just painting and hanging out in the Discord. If anyone wants to join us, it'll just be a chill hangout, painting along and hanging out in the Discord. If anybody needs that invite to the Discord, put it up in chat here again in just a second. What is this event I'm going to? I'm so glad you asked. So the event we're going to is called the War Dome here in North Houston, and it is it's a small convention. It's like the first year of this convention, as far as I know, as far as I understand. I could be wrong, but it's going to have some exciting stuff going on there. Of course, there'll be vendors. There'll be a GT for Warhammer. There's going to be a narrative event. This one is pretty neat. I've been saying it's a 3K event, but it's a progressive event. So like day one, there'll be one game at 1,000 points. Then another rounds 2 and 3 will be 2,000 points. And then day 3, we come back for one big game at 3,000 points. And it's going to be like a big team mega battle where like all the tables are getting pushed together for like a horseshoe shape, and all the teams will be the teams will be battling on one big board, and it's like Imperium versus Chaos with some Xenos sprinkled in, and yeah, it's gonna be fun, I'm pretty sure. Apparently, Team Chaos, for their 3K list on day 3, 2 different people are bringing freaking Warhound Titans. So I need you to come up next weekend with your Titan to help out Team Imperium. They're having some raffles there too, which is going to be like I saw a really cool looking like Warhound Titan that's going to be raffled off, that somebody's putting some work into. Not only are you getting a Warhound Titan, but it's already being commission painted up and stuff like that, and it looks amazing. Like there's checkerboard, but like each of the squares of the checkerboard are like this really cool, like fiery, like a yellow orange kind of tone. Oh, it's so cool looking. It has really nice blends. Oh, I know you mentioned our game, but what are your thoughts on the Space Wolves in 10th edition before War Dome? I am really interested because I like on paper, just looking at the Thunderwolves are not great at all. But like when you look at their ability and then the way their abilities synchronize with the battle leader on Thunderwolf, the Wolf Lord on Thunderwolf, their stratagems, which you'll be able to get some for free with having a Wolf Lord or Captain if you're not a Space Wolf player in that squad, and some of the detachment stratagems, the way they layer on top, some of it mixes together beautifully. It's like I had a unit of Thunderwolves charge just a Hellhound with no support 1 round, and they did 2 wounds to it, including the Wolf. Now, part of it was whiffing with the Wolf Lord, but they did 2 wounds to the whole thing. But then the next round, I did use some stratagem support and, some of the detachment shenanigans, and I was able to clear the Hellhound on the second turn. So, the second turn of their combat. So it definitely shows that by themselves, they're not great, but man, they can really sync up. And obviously, like anybody taking Thunderwolves competitively right now is really riding that Thunderwolf train right now. And it's not like 7th edition where they were just like overpowered, because they're not super great, but they can be really good if you work some magic with them. So going into it, now obviously I'm mostly mentioning Thunderwolves because that's where the big strength of Space Wolves is right now. But I think some of their other stuff is cool. I'm the fact that Wolfen used to be combat monsters and they've been relegated into being kind of like a scout, a cheap but not very threatening scout unit. Really sad compared to what they used to be. A lot of people say that Wolfen are good. You got to look at them as their own thing now. You can't think about what they used to be. But man, Space Wolf players like combat, and the fact that they used to be good in combat is still a big deal to me. And the fact that they can't, they're not good in combat is kind of a, I don't know. I have yet to try them out on the tabletop. But again, it's one of those things on paper, they just look horrible. The heroes in the Space Wolves look great. The fact that Bjorn and Murderfang don't really get any character protection is a huge hit, though. And I think like Dreadnoughts used to have amazing Dreadnoughts, and if you look at their Wolfen Dreadnoughts and their Venerable Dreadnoughts, still great, but their character Dreadnoughts used to be where it was at, and they just got no protection anymore. No invul saves, no character protection. Like, I originally was going to take Murderfang to this event. I just need Murderfang I need Bjorn and Murderfang to be better. I need them to not die immediately. They're just so vulnerable now because they don't have character support. In the last edition, which again, I know it's not good to compare things to the last edition. This is the way the world is now. There's no going back to 9th edition unless, it's an agreement you and your friends have. But, man, in the previous edition where, these Dreadnoughts could get character support, Murderfang and Bjorn were amazing. Now that they can just be targeted, I mean, sure, you could just try hiding, Bjorn or Murderfang out of line of sight, but then they're not really doing their job, are they? I don't know. I think that is a big thing that used to be iconic Space Wolves. Now not so good. So I think, that kind of pulls away. Aside from the Thunderwolves, I don't think Space Wolves have a lot of identity in 10th edition. Their sagas aren't good, so, I don't think it's worth taking their detachment at all. I think it's better to run them personally. I like them as Stormlance. I know some people like them as Gladius. I've had it suggested to me before by Brother Atlas, because my Ultramarines use the Vanguard, and the Vanguard are very survivable, which I'm like, I don't want to use Vanguard with Space Wolves because I'm literally marching chunks of my army up the field to be inside that 12-inch range. But it's been suggested to me that could make them more survivable, is running Space Wolves as Vanguard. You run them anything other than Space Wolves to make them better. Which is kind of sad, The fact that Thunderwolves are a huge part of the Space Wolves meta is good. But yeah, I feel like other than Thunderwolves, they just don't have a ton of identity these days. They still have all of their heroes, but some of their heroes are just not worth it this edition. Like I said, Murderfang, Bjorn, good examples. Ragnar's still great though. And of course, because Blade Guard and Assault Intercessors are great, that means Ragnar is still going to be absolutely awesome. Terminators are okay at the moment. So by extension, Aryak could be okay. He's pretty good. But I'm finding because melee combat isn't as good as it used to be in general amongst any army. Just because of the toughnesses on vehicles nowadays. I've been finding that in most cases I'd rather take the Chaplain in Terminator armor. Because he's just flat out, he gets the +1 to wound for your Terminators, which means, I don't know, I haven't really found a point where I'm like, let me take Aryak, because I'd rather stick the Chaplain and Terminator armor in my army. Which again, by having a character be less good in 10th edition. I feel like, you know, again, Space Wolves not having as much of that iconic flavor. Oh boy, you want me to bring Pablo Picassus? Not sure the Mechanicum will have a Land Raider available that quickly. Ah, that's a shame. We're going to have to get our own full-on Imperial cruiser to move a Warhound or to move a Titan that size. And I feel like, I know we're a little bit past 11 o'clock now. I feel like we've made some really good progress tonight, guys. I know we're a few minutes over, but I just want to finish up these big rivets. This is the last side of the last tank. And I'll have all of these big rivets done. Thought about making a custom carrying case for it that would double as a hanger diorama. That would be so badass. I would love to see that. That would be content for days. Yep, and this one over here, this big rivet thing is all covered up in sand. Don't gotta paint that one. Boom, I think we are done. Obviously there's still plenty more silver bits to do. You know, there's the vents, there's the tracks obviously, which we'll do in this bright silver, and just like everything else, we'll, you know, wash it down with some grime, some streaking grime and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's like, they started off as just base coated that darker brown, and yeah, now they've all got, you know, the brighter highlights on them. They've all got a little definition on them. They've got, I think just doing the studs kind of like, you know, pops them out a little bit. So yeah, we're making progress, guys. We're making progress. We're going to block out the camera for just a half second, so that way the camera can have trouble focusing on the face. That's the top of my head. There we go. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. They are looking great. Thank you so much, brother. I'm glad you are enjoying them. Hope they serve you well on the battlefield next weekend, and of course in all our future games. If you guys liked tonight's, well, before I get to that, again, we're going to go to our, in about 20 minutes or so, I'm going to hit the restroom, I'm going to take a bio, I'm going to get some snacky snack, and then of course we're going to do some hanging out in the Discord if anyone wants to hang out and do some painting. But I appreciate you guys joining me here tonight, kicking off the weekend and kicking off this 1 week push I'm doing to try and get everything painted up before our narrative event. If you guys liked tonight's episode, please make sure that you grab up an axe and smash that like button in the name of the Emperor. Drop us some comments down below, especially if you enjoyed any of this, and feel free to be part of any of tonight's ridiculous conversations. And if you guys are not yet subscribed to the channel, or if you're not yet subscribed to any of our friends, down in the link tree below, the Friends of the Frost and Fist, then we would love to have you as part of the pack, part of our hobby family here on the Frost and Fists. So make sure you subscribe. Until next time, guys, stay frosty.